Hey, Father Len, thank you so much for being with us and for hanging out in the wings while we were chatting.
Great to be with you today.
Very good. Now, for those who might not know, Father Len, could you give us a brief overview of the La Florida Martyrs, a little of their history and their significance to the Catholic faith in that region?
Sure. So the cause of the Florida Martyrs includes 57 individuals. Of that are 3 Dominicans, 9 Jesuits, 9 Franciscans, a hospitaller, 7 Spanish laymen, and 28 native peoples of native Florida tribes. They were martyred between 1549 and 1712 initially by native peoples and then by the British and their Creek allies. And they gave their life for the faith. So many of them had the opportunity to escape, but they chose not to escape. They chose to give this testimony of the faith. Many people are probably familiar with the North American martyrs, the 8 Jesuits, which took place about 100 years later. But in this, one of the great things about this cause is that our lead martyr is a native person. His name was Antonio Anija, who was a member of the Apalachee tribe. He lived around present-day Tallahassee and was tortured to death. But even from his cross, they tied him to a cross and burnt him alive. He gave a testimony to the faith, to his people, to stay strong and don't abandon what they have been given, because what God has promised is far greater than any suffering they're experiencing at the moment.
Beautiful. And Father Len, I'm glad I got that number correct of the 57 martyrs. But, you know, there's numerous martyrs throughout the time period. Could you just share with us a couple of their stories so we can get an idea of their courage and their faith?
I'll start with the first ones, the 3 Dominicans, which was led by Father Luis Cancer, who was really a phenomenal missionary, came from Spain, had great success in Central America, really put forward the notion of the peaceful approach to sharing the gospel. That said, we're not going to force anyone to become baptized, become Catholic. We're going to offer the gospel freely. And he was a pioneer in that, whereas there were some peoples who were taking a very kind of forceful approach. He had great success in Guatemala, present-day Guatemala. In fact, that area was so warlike that within a few years, he actually asked the province to be changed to the province of Vera Paz, True Peace. That region still has this name to this day. So he led an expedition here with 4 other Dominicans, and unfortunately it was short-lived. They were only here about a month, and he was clubbed to death in the sight of his compatriots for a sense of what they were trying to do to bring this new faith to these peoples. So he's our first one. Another one that I love is Father Augustin Ponce Leon. He was actually born in Florida. He was became a Franciscan, was ordained a priest here, and when the Creek attacked St. Augustine, he was away from his parish, and they had taken a altar server, a couple altar servers, and so he went after them to try to get these altar servers back. They beat him, left him for dead. He woke up, and then he still goes after them and tells them, what you're doing is wrong in the sight of God. Let these boys go. They've done nothing wrong. So then they actually killed the boys in front of him and then killed him. There's so many the stories there. And the beautiful thing about this is it's not just, Spanish people came from afar. It's people who really embrace the faith here, and people who clearly had the opportunity to escape, renounce the faith, and they didn't. And of course, with any group of martyrs, there's probably more than just that 57. Surely there are, but these are the ones that we have, the documentary evidence to, put their cause forward. Like Don Patricio, who was the head of the Apalachee people, he's captured and is tortured to death, but again, stays strong to the Catholic faith. Just one more thing about Antonio Anija, our lead martyr. When he was on the cross, at one point, he says he has a vision of Our Lady, and he says, it is looking into her eyes that I can endure this pain and suffering. So there was an apparition of Our Lady in what is now the United States at the hour of death of Antoninisia. So there's so many beautiful elements to this cause.
Truly is the case that God always gives us the grace. And where does the cause stand now for the martyrs? What do you hope next in the process, Len?
So we are wrapping up the diocesan phase. There's kind of three phases: the initial inquiry, the diocesan phase, and then the phase when it goes to Rome. So this is obviously a historical cause. We don't have eyewitnesses around to interview, like in the case of, St. John Paul II or St. Teresa of Calcutta. So we're relying on the historical evidences there. So most of the testimony has been done. We're waiting for the historical commission to conclude their work. So we fully anticipate that sometime in 2023, this cause will be sent to Rome.
That's great. And Father Len, if I have the title correct, for the oratory shrine, it's going to be Shrine of Mary, Queen of the Martyrs. How's this process going with the building and the plans that are going into this?
So we have a piece of property that is where some martyrdoms took place very nearby and was the site of a skirmish between the Appalachian and the Creek and the English. So we've commissioned an architect, and he's really done a beautiful design, and it'll be quite stunning, I think. So it's using kind of a Spanish Rococo design common in the Spanish New World and so forth. Really incorporated a lot of the efforts there. Of course, that's all God's providence, because we don't have money sitting around just to build. But I think as we are refining our plans, I think people see it. I think they're going to respond very generously, and this will be quite, I think, a national shrine for people to see and experience the lives of the martyrs, their testimony of the faith, as well as to be inspired in their own faith lives today.
Well, as a native Floridian, Father Len, you can sense the excitement in your voice about the martyrs, about the shrine, about the process. What diocese are you?
I'm a priest of the Diocese of St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg, very good. We really appreciate you taking the time to fill this out for us. Where can people learn more about the martyrs and the cause and the shrine?
The easiest thing is just to go to our website, which is Martyrs of La Florida Missions.com, or the easiest thing, just Google Florida Martyrs, and it'll be probably the first or second link there. It has the renderings of the shrine, goes into more detail about the different martyrs. These martyrdom events took place in 6 of the current 7 dioceses of Florida, as well as the Diocese of Richmond, Virginia, which at the time was part of La Florida, which was, the British hadn't yet come to those areas.
Martyrs of La Florida Missions.org. Father Len, thank you so much. And from all of us here, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
God bless you, too.
God bless you, too. Thank you.